Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Vita May podcast. I'm happy to recommend using Anchor.fm as my podcast tool. It's a free tool. It automatically publishes your podcast to Spotify. You may manually submit your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Castbox.fm, and others. It is straightforward to use from your mobile phone application or computer and laptop browser. You can invite friends and record when ready and more. You may also monetize by recording guided ads that you select per episode. Join in on the fun of sharing your experiences and stories and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, that's anchor.fm. Thank you. Welcome to Vita May. Our topic today is about being a single parent and a widow. I'm very thankful to have Alida Titchenal join me as a podcast guest speaker. Welcome, Alida. We met through our karate classes and have had adventures looking for fun arts and crafts at Michael's store in the past. Both of us love learning about the world and new languages. Can you give us a little bit of background of yourself, Alida?
Sure. So, as Maybelline mentioned, I am a single parent and a widow. I lost my husband, Chris, in 2017, and I have a 5-year-old daughter, and we also have a dog who's pretty important in our lives right now. He's about 8. And we lost Chris right before Anna turned 3. So she was pretty little. She doesn't remember him.
That's very difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
that's our little family.
Yeah. And what are some lessons that you learned that you could share when you first became a single parent and a widow?
It's really hard going from co-parenting to single parenting. You don't realize all of the things that your partner would help you with. There's a lot of things you need to start doing in and out of the house. You've just become the manager of your entire household, however big or small that is. You're it.
It's very lonely.
It can be very lonely. There's a lot to do. You're very busy, but at the same time, when you're like the only adult in the house, that's a special kind of loneliness.
Right. So how did Anna react?
She was young enough that she didn't understand what was happening. We had my mother at the house helping after he passed away. And we also had my mother-in-law, his mother, living at the house as well. So she had adults around her to kind of keep things moving. And she was too little to understand what death is, and that daddy wasn't coming back. But in the years since, we've talked about it a lot. She understands that her daddy's passed away. He's not coming back. She knows that it's just me and her at the house, and it's the two of us.
So when did she finally understand that?
It was a gradual process. We talked about him being dead quite a bit. Whenever she would bring it up, we talked about how he passed away. We talked about why he passed away. We talked about what it means to be dead. We've talked about what happens after you die. We've had a lot of death conversations at our house. She knows probably a lot more about death than her peers, which is good, but I also hate that for her, that she has to understand that.
Right. So do you think there was enough types of resources that could have helped with explaining that, or did you have to figure that out yourself?
I've found enough, but you do have to search it out. It's not something that's commonly out there, but I did come across some YouTube videos that explain death to children. There's actually a Sesame Street video that explains what happens when a parent dies, which I found really helpful, even just for me. And I've also found a few helpful websites that kind of talk about how to explain death and what happens after somebody dies to young children. Like, how do you explain cremation? How do you explain a burial? to a young child that doesn't know what these things are. So I did find a few resources for that.
How about for yourself?
Yeah, for myself, right after he passed away, I had a few friends share this book with me. I brought it with me today. It's called It's Okay to Laugh. Crying is Cool Too. And it's a book by author Nora McInerney. She is also a widow who became a single mother. And so she wrote this book about her experiences. And there's some humor in it, but it's also serious at the same time. It's really easy read, but there was a lot that I've been able to relate to in this book. And I guess a lot of people have heard about it, so they kept sending me this book. I got like 3 copies of it, wow. 3 or 4 copies. So, but this one's been a good resource. And then I also joined Facebook groups for young widows with children, younger widows. I'm in a group for Florida widows, which, as you might imagine, is a lot of older folks, but there's a couple younger women and men in there as well. But really the Facebook groups help a lot because you can go on there right away and somebody's going to see your post. Somebody's going to have some comments or just a listening ear or whatever, and you can get responses.
Did you find outside groups where you can actually go to different places?
Yeah, about a year after he passed, I was ready to start doing a group. And so my daughter and we go to a group together, and it's a local group here. And it's mainly geared for children who have lost maybe a parent or a sibling or somebody close in their family. But the adults also have our own time. While the children are at their groups, the adults break off and we go to a group as well, and we get time to talk. And that one's been really helpful too, just listening and sharing experiences both.
How long are those sessions usually?
It's about an hour long. We go every other week. And they also have like special outings for us. They host locally here in Orlando, they host the mascot games, which is a really big deal. And of course we get to go. They'll give us tickets to go to that if we want. We get like a special meet and greet with some of the mascots if you want. They do toy drive in November, December. So, any kids can get some toys that they might not have gotten before. It's a really great organization. It's called New Hope for Kids.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. I didn't know they had different groups. So that's great.
Yeah.
So groups, books, online, Facebook especially. So those are pretty. How about the family? How did they give you support?
My family lives far away. So my mom came off and on when my husband was sick in the hospital, and then she was also there when he passed away, and she stayed for as long as she could while also working back home. But she was there. She helped me keep the house going, keep my daughter going, and my mother-in-law was also living with us at the time, and she really kept things going for us as well until I was ready to step in and be in charge like I need to.
So asking for help wasn't a difficult process to get support from
not from my family, but again, we don't have too many family that are local or that were able to come down and necessarily help. But I got what I needed in the beginning for sure.
Was that like about a year process or?
Yeah, it was about a year or so. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So what are the common misconceptions that other people don't know about being a single parent?
I guess that single parents have everything under control because I'm faking it a lot of the time. I'm doing the best I can. I'm putting all of my energy into making sure my child has what she needs to be healthy and successful and happy. And that's, sometimes that's all I can handle in a day. But anybody looking at us, they would have no idea. So a lot of times we're just trying to do the very best we can with our limited energy and resources.
Have there been comments made or questions asked that made you pause and think to consider that they didn't realize you're a single parent?
No, I've been pretty open with everybody I know, so everybody kind of knows I'm a single parent. It's not something that I feel like I need to hide or be ashamed of. I feel like if people know our family situation, they're going to be a lot more understanding right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Have you known of anybody else that has similar situations but had difficulty sharing that they're single parents?
I haven't come across that quite yet.
Okay. So pretty much people are pretty understanding, or at least aware.
I think so. People do seem to be fairly compassionate, especially if they know the circumstances surrounding why you're a single parent.
Okay.
I think that helps a lot.
Good. I'm glad. What are some techniques that you use to help support yourself?
Well, we go to karate classes. That can help a lot if you got some aggression you need to take out, or if you're frustrated about something. Karate is a great place. You get those endorphins going. I always feel good, walking out of my classes thinking, all right, I went there, I did that, I did a good job. I did what I was supposed to today.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
That's good. Well, I know I've heard, or at least I thought I saw a show somewhere where they had demolition, and they would help, like whoever passed by and noticed that they needed to release some of the temper, they would let them use the hammer and just break bricks.
That would be cool too, for sure. I know some people that would be very useful for.
I think everybody needs it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else that you do besides karate?
I really appreciate the time that I get to myself after my daughter goes to bed and the house is quiet. Mm-hmm. I'll just be laying in bed with the dog, and that's kind of my me time to do whatever it is that I want, and I don't have to think about anything else.
Well, I know you love your dog, so
I do.
Can you share that, how that is for you?
Yeah.
How it helps you?
Yeah, so when my husband first died, that dog stuck to me like glue. He did not leave my side. I didn't do anything for him, and he was my shadow. He was always with me. He slept on the couch with me for the first several weeks. Even when I wasn't sleeping at all, he was there with me. Because he and I have this connection, and he knew that I was feeling bad. And so he knew that he had to be with me. So he did that. He did his job. And now it's been a couple of years later, and my daughter and I have been taking our dog to trick training classes, and that's been a lot of fun for the two of us. It's something that she and I can do together because she has to go everywhere with me. There's no choices there. She has to be with me since she's only 5. So we take the dog with us and we sign up for trick training classes. Our dog has gotten 5 titles now, and we're going to work towards another one here pretty soon. He is a certified advanced trick dog.
That's awesome.
He loves doing tricks. We're working on getting a stunt dog title for him.
Very cool.
And he is learning scent work.
Wow. You have a sports guy there.
Yeah, he loves it. It's sports for dogs.
Well, besides you getting karate with Anna, your dog has sports too.
Yes, he is a member of our family, so he's got his things for sure.
Yeah. So I have more questions. What are some things that many people don't consider when they are a single parent?
You don't think about how much work it is. I mean, you have to do everything. If you don't know how to do it, you got to outsource that. You have to either find somebody that will help you and is willing to, or you have to pay somebody to come help you with whatever you need. And I've had to do that a few times. I've had to call on people and say, hey, I don't think I can do this on my own. Can you please come help me with this? And you have to figure out your schedules, and can this person come help? And should I give this person something for being so kind to come over and help us? Stuff like that. I mean, you got to kind of be the jack of all trades in your own house. Mm-hmm. And if you're a single parent for your child or children, you got to make sure that everything's on the up and up.
Right.
You're it.
But you have to be brave to ask.
Yes, and that's not
Don't
easy.
be shy.
It's not easy to ask sometimes.
Oh no, it's something. Well, I would say, what do you feel? Do you feel any shame asking, or is it awkward?
I feel like I'm a burden when I have to ask for help.
Yeah, that's definitely a hard.
Because you don't know who is willing to help. You don't know what their skills are. You don't know what they're good at. You don't know if they want to come help you. What if they're too busy? You just don't know. There's a lot of factors. It's so much easier for somebody to offer, can I come do this for you? Can I come do this with you? Can I help you in this way? Million times easier if somebody steps up and does that, as opposed to, hey, can you please come help me with this? I would really appreciate it. And you're going out on that limb. And what if they say no,
Right.
I can't? What if you're putting them in an awkward position?
Right.
It's a lot harder that way.
So the lesson is, if somebody's willing to help, just ask if you can offer assistance, specifically what it is they can help with.
Yes. And if you know somebody that is struggling, or even if it doesn't look like they're struggling, if they're a single parent, if they're, a widower, offer to come do something for them. Give them a couple options. Can I come do this or this or this? These are the days that I'm free. When does it work for you? Can I come do this for you?
So take the hard decision away.
Yes.
Right. That's good. Yeah, I mean, even if you're not a single parent, really for anything.
Absolutely.
Make it easier for anyone that needs assistance. Be explicit.
Sure.
What you can offer, when, and give options. So this way it's much easier to decide.
Absolutely.
So that's important. And what type of support do you find useful while we're on that topic? And who's able to help you when you need it the most?
Anybody that's willing to come help us with anything, honestly. I do everything. So if I can get a break on one thing, that's huge for me. Acts of service is one of my secondary love languages. So if somebody comes to do something for me like that, I see that as a really big deal. Of course, not everyone is like that, but that is for me. And I imagine a lot of people, it probably is a big deal.
Yeah, if they're given the opportunity.
Yes, they're taking time and resources out of their day to come help you and make your day easier. I find that to be a big deal.
That's good. Well, it's an important skill, and if more of that happened, then it'd be less problems for the world in general.
Absolutely. Just help people.
Yeah.
If you have time and energy, help.
Just do it.
Help someone.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Absolutely.
So how's your daughter doing?
She's doing great. I put all of my energy and resources into making sure she's doing fantastic. She's a busy 5-year-old, to put it in the best way possible. She's a great kid and she's busy. So I've got her in tons of activities. I've asked for family support on paying for some of these activities so that she can continue being a happy, active preschooler. So she is happy all of the time. And I think she's healthy and doing great, just because that's my job right now.
Well, you're putting a lot of energy and research on it, and spending the time and money on it as best as you can.
Absolutely. And for me personally, there's no other option. That's what needs to happen.
That's what good parents do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There's definitely a lot of love. We can see it. I know Anna's definitely happy. I mean, she's curious, definitely smart little girl.
Yes.
Definitely bouncy. Busy,
oh my goodness, she's
healthy.
Bouncy. Yes.
And that's what matters, right?
Yes.
So are there questions that you wish I should have asked?
I think you asked some really great questions today. I think you did a really great job kind of covering all the bases.
Awesome. Well, that was the goal. I wanted to make sure that we share this awesome story because there's not enough of it. I know you posted an article in Facebook, so that sparked that question even more.
Absolutely.
And it was a very good article, and I do know quite a few friends that are single and widow. And it's unfortunate we don't really celebrate it some more so that we can spread the support.
No. I feel like you don't see young widows and widowers that often, but there are quite a few. If you start noticing and talking to people, there are more than you would expect.
Yeah.
And I find that really interesting. And I always try to, whenever I see an article about being a single parent or a widower, whatever, I always try to post that because I want people to be cognizant of what it's like, because it's a very unique situation. It's not like being divorced or separated or anything like that. It's very different.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you don't want anybody to be in.
No, absolutely
they have to deal
not.
with it.
Yes.
And you just have to accept the fact that
you don't have a choice in this.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah, and Alida's definitely done amazing. I know
Thank
about
you.
it for a few years. Well, barely a year, right?
A little over a year, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been trying new things. She has a lot of art in her. And she's also a bookworm.
Yep.
So we do Duolingo sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working on mine. I love it.
Right now I'm focusing on Latin. I'm trying Japanese, but I'm on and off.
I've got Anna interested in it now too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, it's easier for them to pick it up when they're young.
Yep, she's going to be learning here, so.
That's good.
I love it.
Yes. So, well, appreciate you taking the time to come along and visit me and joining me on this podcast.
Absolutely. And if anyone has questions, I would love to come back another time and answer any questions.
Absolutely. I'm going to post this podcast and post some link, and hopefully you guys ask me questions. So thank you everyone for joining me and Alida on the show host for Vita Me. See you again on the next episode.
See ya.